Hey folks, welcome to the Mike Lopez TV Show. I'm your host, AC Mike. We'll bring you all things Atlantic City and our local region. Politics, sports, dining, entertainment, and so much more. On tonight's show, our first guest is Mayor Marty Small Sr., Mayor of the great city of Atlantic City. After that, we'll have Anthony Catanoso, President and owner of Steel Pier. So stick around, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Our next guest is the Mayor of Atlantic City, New Jersey, Mayor Marty Small Sr. Welcome to the show, sir.
It's a pleasure to be here, AC Mike, and I'm not the mayor of Atlantic City. I'm mayor of the great city of Atlantic City. And it's a great day in the city of Atlantic City. Can we say great day?
Great day, and you're absolutely right, 100%.
Yes,
Listen,
absolutely.
Welcome to the show, man. We appreciate you back. And listen, one of the great things about the great city of Atlantic City anymore, when you call City Hall, that answer and the way they, the young men and women do, that's awesome because it puts you in a good mood.
Yes. I mean, we wanted to change the culture in the building. We wanted to change the way that the employees interface with the public. And a lot of people didn't buy in the beginning, saying, I'm not doing that. And I just simply said to people I know that if you work for Apple or Disney and they ask you to answer the phone that way, would you do it? So it spread like wildfire. And now, great day's a thing.
It's a great touch, and listen, it is awesome. I smile, and it's a genuine smile because it does make a difference when someone's calling, whether it's taxes or that, and we're going to get into some of that. But Mayor, it's been a couple of years since you've been on the TV show, but you're frequently on the radio show. 2 years, lots going on. The city, tax decreases, a lot of stuff happening, boardwalk renovation. I want you to take it a little bit where you are, and then we'll go back and forth with that. Some of the progress.
Well, we'll just touch on that because I always said when I first became mayor of the great city of Atlantic City that the taxpayers are first, and right after that, our two most precious resources, our youth and our seniors. But we'll touch on that. Let's start with the boardwalk fund. The governor came in and signed the bill, historic bill, $100 million boardwalk fund. We had the press conference at Boardwalk Hall. All of the funding wasn't for Atlantic City. We were politicking and, trying to get at least 50% of the money. But at the end of the day, we did get the most, us in Asbury Park, $20 million, and we're grateful for that. We're going to use that $20 million to start from where the Army Corps of Engineers finished off, which is at New Jersey Avenue, and we're going to go from New Jersey to Tennessee with an entire new boardwalk, address the structural issues underneath. We also had a press conference. We had the U.S. Economic Development Authority there, $6 million that we got, and it's from Bellevue Avenue to Arkansas Avenue. So some action is going. It's going to take probably another $80 million to complete the entire boardwalk. So at least this is a great start. And as far as our taxes, we just announced another tax decrease. It's the largest since I've been the mayor, 10.2 cents. I believe it might be the largest in the region. We're still doing some homework on that. And in addition to that, we came in and took care of our employees, our non-uniform employees, with a $4,500 raise on July 1st.
Strong. Listen, we talk about tourism and our people visiting and whatnot, but it's about the folks that live there, the folks that work there. And when you talk about Boardwalk or the 4,500, that's who's taking, the most pride in that. And when they come to work, they feel, because I know how it is sometimes when you work some of the jobs formerly over at the Atlantic County Department of Public Safety, it wasn't a whole lot you started with, but then you just saw the increase. And what it does is it's the morale, which we talked about briefly.
Well, yeah, we wanted to change the climate and culture in the entire building. I said that I'm going to start internally with rebuilding City Hall. And, when you look at the things that we've done to increase workplace morale, not only do I tell the employees every time I see them, I appreciate it, every chance I get, I let them know. When have you ever heard the city of Atlantic City in 3 years for the non-uniform employees got a $12,000 raise? So we're headed in the right direction. We're going to continue to do great things for our employees. but we always want to put our taxpayers first. If it's going to cause harm to the taxpayers, we're not going to do it. Over the last 2 years, we rebuilt the new division of Youth Recreation, Senior, and Multicultural Services, which also includes our anti-violence program and our reentry. My commitment is to the kids. I had my inaugural gala a couple of years ago. We raised $611,000, and every penny, less expenses, went to the children of Atlantic City. I could have saved it for my campaign. I'm up for re-election next year, but we'll deal with that then. Our commitment is to the youth and seniors and everyone in between.
Yeah, and Mayor, when you touch on that, we kind of forming it here right now with the recreation department, something that wasn't seen there in this. You would think that the city of Atlantic City would have a rec department, thriving, running. There wasn't much going on before you got there, and those kids just suffering with not a whole lot to do, whether it was,
And I'm a career recreation professional. Started out with the Safe Haven program. It was a partnership between the great city of Atlantic City, Health and Human Services Division, the Atlantic City Police Department, and New Jersey Division of Law and Public Safety. Atlantic City was one of 6 cities to get a Safe Haven grant. And I was the coordinator. My job was to run youth and senior activities from New Jersey Avenue to Tennessee Avenue, because statistics showed that that was the worst area in the city at the time. From there, I went to the Boys and Girls Club, where I ran the brand new Boys and Girls Club for 4.5 years. From there, went to the Atlantic City school system for 11 years, and I spent 1 year at Principal Academy Charter before becoming a full-time mayor. While doing that, I was always on city council. I ascended to the city council presidency, and one mayor thought it was a brilliant idea to try to balance the budget and lay off recreation workers and not give it any structure. And I knew that that was a talent that I had in organizing. And, I set the tone, I set the vision, and I got great people out there that just carries it out.
And you sure do, because we have them on the radio show as well, some of the men and women that run the rec departments and the different departments with the youth and the seniors as well. And to go on to that a little bit more, they're all thriving, doing well. The teams in Atlantic City, whether it's youth, organized, the sports, and it's a sense of social. The kids get to interact, not just in school, but to be able to play sports at a high level.
You got to develop the whole child. Right. I'm a perfect example. Probably not for sports, I wouldn't be sitting here. Sports was a vehicle for me to go to this fine institution, Stockton University, and as they say, the rest is history. But speaking of recreation, they held a major event last week, and I seen ACMike on the scene hanging out with AJ Brown.
That's right. Listen, folks, unbelievable night over at MLK, the school complex. Talk to the folks about that a little bit. Yeah, and it was great, man.
Yes, it's the second annual three-point shootout. Last year we had social media influencer and rapper Gilly the King as our special guest, and this year we had 2. We had social media influencer and comedian Bubba Dub. Yeah. And A.J. Brown, from the Philadelphia Eagles. And I actually went to pick up A.J. Brown, so we kind of talked shop, kind of talked the Saquon Barkley move and, what's next. But it wasn't about me. It was, making those, I'll tell everyone, relationships matter. And, we have relationships, so we were able to pull it off. But the kids in the community were happy to see him. I mean, ironically, he hit his jersey number. He had 11. But that wasn't the point. It was just hanging out with the community, and it was a great day in the city of Atlantic City.
Listen, it was an awesome day. The kids, the stands were packed, the adults were having a great time, and that's the kind of stuff that I really enjoy. I know the day of a mayor and some of the council as well is busy. When you're talking money, you're talking this, that, or whatever, but to be able to take the time and show up for that, Marty, that's what I appreciate what you do. You just don't show up, cut the ribbon, push people out there. You're there talking and hanging out with the folks as well. When you talked about the boardwalk, I want to piggyback on that real quick. And I heard it in a statement of yours, and it made a lot of sense. Some of the folks were pushing back on it. Well, why start on New Jersey Avenue and go that way? It made perfect sense what you said. That's where the new boardwalk is. Yeah. Why? Explain that real quick.
What I've learned, that people are always going to complain. Yeah. They're always going to second guess you, but that's the reason why the voters in the great city of Atlantic City elected me to make the tough decisions for them. We just had a massive renovation performed by the Army Corps of Engineers, and it started at New Jersey Avenue. There's no need to mess up that boardwalk and dig it up. It's already structurally sound. So we're going to start from that end and go from New Jersey Avenue to Tennessee, and if the bids come in lower, we'll go further than Tennessee while we wait to get more funding. And we told the EDA, the United States EDA, that we're coming back for more.
There you go. Just let them know. Be knocking on the door. And it makes perfect sense. Again, you don't need to hear it from me. We only have about 2 minutes left. This flies too quickly. The air show. Phone call, talk to us a little about that.
So I was in a meeting, and Andrew Kramer, who is our PIO for the great city of Atlantic City, we were talking, and he said that I guess he was in a meeting or heard something that Michael Chait said the air show would be canceled. So I said, okay. I said, let me call Mike. Get on the phone with Michael Chait. I say, Mike, don't just give me the number. What's the number? Give me the real number. Right. What's the number? He said, $250 to do it, $300 to do it as we've been doing it. And I want things to remain the same or better. So I got right on the phone and I called the governor. And I said, Gov, I said, listen, you know how important tourism is to the state. You know how important it is to the great city of Atlantic City. We're not having beach concerts this summer. It will be a disaster if we let the air show fall by the wayside. I said, I'm told that they're on the brink of canceling it and we need funds, $300,000. I need you to make this happen. He said, Mayor, I'm on it. Let me get back to you. So he said, give me a couple days. So I talked to Rob Field in the governor's office, who kind of, works with us closely, him and CC. And I said to Rob, Rob said to me, he said, Mayor, just be patient. I'm sure this is going to happen. So then word got out, because, people always leaking things, that if funding wasn't achieved by a certain date, that the air show was canceled no matter what. So that word got up to Trenton, and then they called me back and said, hey, tell Michael Chait to cool the jets. Right. No pun intended. So I said, Mike, this is going to happen. I was in a similar situation where I worked with the governor to steal a convention from Hollywood, Florida, to Atlantic City, the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives. Similar situation. And I said, it's going to happen. I said, but I don't want to trump the governor's announcement, so we got to kind of do a dance. And we knew that the money was there, but we thought that we was going to do a joint press conference with the governor. So, we didn't want to get ahead of him. And then later that afternoon, it came out. Well, early in the morning, before the directors meeting, the governor texted me personally and said, Mayor, in this text, you have Tim Sullivan and Rob Field. Thank the good folks at EDA for putting up the $300,000. But by the time the governor was making a statement, South Jersey Transportation Authority stepped up and funded it. So whether it was EDA, SJTA, I don't care where the money came from. Right, yeah. So it was truly a great day, and that's the thing. Relationships matter. Yeah. When you can pick up the phone and call and get things done, and we're happy to have the air show back in the great city of Atlantic City. And like I said, see you on the boardwalk in mid-August.
You did say that, and I was listening on the radio. Folks, that's the 14th of August. It's going to be there. Practice day, Tuesday the 13th. Mayor, we're about out of time here. It flies by. We need about an hour together. Listen, I want to leave it the last word to you. Let the folks know. Let them know what's going on in AC.
Yes. Atlantic City investor confidence is at an all-time high. We have 1 million projects going on. We have the EDA that is pumping millions upon millions of money here in the great city of Atlantic City, all while offering incentives programs like Aspire. Look out for more family entertainment announcements. Shout out to Keith Groff, who has 8 units going up. Kudos to K-Hive Nanian, who have shown that they're confident in the vision of Atlantic City. Like I tell everyone, people don't invest money unless they believe in leadership. And I tell the people, if you always count on Atlantic City, that's your fault, because the rumors of the great city of Atlantic City's demise always was and will be greatly exaggerated. One more time, can we say great day?
Great day. That's what's happening. Folks, I want to thank you, Mayor Marty Small, for jumping out here for us and joining us. Folks, make sure you check him out on his socials as well as the government pages as well. Thanks for coming on. Folks, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Our next guest is Anthony Catanoso, president and owner of Steel Pier. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike.
So
Good to be
glad,
back.
so glad to have you here. Listen, man, taking the time. No, it's an extremely busy time of the year for you. Let our viewers know a little bit about Anthony Catanoso, the family, Steel Pier as well, before we get into the history and what's happening today.
Well, the Pier, we're starting our 33rd year in business there at the Pier. It's me, my brother Chuck, my brother Bill, my partner Eddie Alwell. So we've been there since '92, and it's been a heck of a run. We're doing new things each and every year. But we started this thing. We started out in go-karts years ago, and morphed into the Pier actually by accident. My brother Bill was a manager at the Sands Casino at the time, and he gave me a call one day. He said, Donald Trump built part of the old Steel Pier back, and it's all concrete, and I think he's looking to do something. And we wound up just making contacts until we got to Jim Allen, who was a purchasing agent at the time, who now owns Hard Rock. But we got to Jim Allen, who put us with Dennis Gomes, who put us with Donald Trump, and we were able to make a deal, a 2-year deal back in '92. And we were there for 20 years until we bought it from him.
So you were going through 1 or 2 year contracts with him and running that type of business with that. Talk to us.
It was crazy. We had 20 years of 1 and 2 year contracts, and then finally they decided to sell, and we were in a position, so we were able to buy it back in 2011.
Wow, so that's amazing. And we're going to we're going to pick up at 2011. But going back, because I know you're a historian and you love Atlantic City, you love what you do, you're passionate about your family, about what you do in your line of work. Going back to the go-karts as well. But what does that mean to you? 1898, when you say that, the people that played on it, go.
It's one of the most storied brands in the United States, maybe in the world. I mean, this property in 1898, when it opened in June of 1898, I don't think they had any idea what it would grow to be. And then as the 20s, 30s, and 40s, when it reached its entertainment peak, if you were anybody in the entertainment business and you played Steel Pier, that means you made it to the top, because everybody that was anybody played back then. And the 40s especially, 40s and 50s was incredibly hot back then. But they had the music hall, they had the Marine Ballroom. These were venues that held 4,000 or 5,000 people. I remember the only time I was there as a child, 1968, when I was 10 years old, I saw the Supremes. Wow. So at 10 years old, I'm seeing these 3 beautiful women there with these sequins, and it was like, it was just something that'll never leave my mind. And they were the impactful acts that they had. I mean, but Sinatra was there, Benny Goodman was there, Tommy Dorsey was there. I mean, everybody, all the big bands back then. But if you'd made it in the entertainment business if you played Steel Pier. And that brand, and to be a torchbearer of that brand is really an honor for us, and it's really been a pleasure. And it always hasn't been easy to live up to that brand, that moniker, because people are always saying, "I remember when." Things are not the same. It'll never be, and we understand that. It'll never be what it was. It's something different now. We're in a different world.
Right, and to your point, I'm not what I was 25 years ago. Right? It's like 50 pounds and hair. So no. And Anthony, I wanted to touch on this too. Like I said, Al Jolson. You mentioned Sinatra. The Beatles were supposed to play there, and then they went to Boardwalk, or the Convention Center, I should say. And Hammond was just such an innovator, just a tremendous. I went with you to Summers Point, the historical building, and you did this presentation, and I wish we had the time to do that here, because I found that phenomenal. But Hammond, just an innovator, creator, a character, and then what he did continued for how many years? I'm not sure. I don't mean to put you on the spot. Well,
Hammonds were actually there about 27 years. Right. We've actually operated the Pier longer than any owner since 1898. We were doing the math. So the original owner, had it for just a few years, and then Frank Gravatt came in and was 25 years, and the Hammonds were 25 years, and then there was a few intermittent owners, but then we came in, and we've been there longer than any owner consistently. But Hammond was a guy who was an acrobat, and at one point slept under the Pier as a kid. Did he really? And then wound up owning it. Yeah, if you read his story, The Acrobat, it really is an amazing story when he started out. And Ringling Brothers brought him to the United States.
That's amazing. I recommend you folks read that because that's going to be something to see with this interview. So we move forward. The world's playground. Steel Pier is a huge part of it, besides some of the clubs and whatnot, but early on. And we go into now, and we're going to fast forward. You and your family come along. You know, again, you started from very humble beginnings with the pier. You know, Trump was using it. Was it for the helicopter landing pad, or what was the use of it prior to the Catanosos taking it?
What he did was, when he built the pier, he used it for his charter helicopter business, but that business failed. So then he started looking to do something, and he made a deal with a charity to come in and run some amusements back in '92, and we came in and operated the go-kart track there. At the end of the season, he came out on the pier, and he said, other than the go-kart track, I want everybody out of here. And so then we sat with him, and he entertained a meeting with us, and we said, listen, our go-kart operation was first class. I said, we can replicate this. You know, he looked at the other go-kart tracks. We had 10 other go-kart tracks in Cape May County. Okay. So he sent guys out to look at the operation, and he made a deal with us, a 2-year deal. He goes, I'll give you a 2-year shot.
And so it's amazing, and to go through that, I mean, if we had what time we would, the years how it was, because it has to be stressful. You know, you're getting new CEOs and new directors or whatever coming in. You know, it's a casino business. That's the way it is. And they're probably like, well, what's out there? What's going on?
Over our 20-year history with Trump, we got terminated 7 times, because every time a new president came into the Taj Mahal, first thing he would do is send a letter of termination to the pier, because he didn't want families out there, you know, for one reason or another. And then finally, Mark Giuliano came in, and Mark saw the value. At first, his first reaction was, "You guys got to go." And we sat with him. He gave us a year. He sat with him, and then we won him over. We said, "Look, this is an important part of Atlantic City, and this doesn't hurt your business at all, because when your grandparents are in there gambling, they'll bring your kids and put them on the pier." So he eventually gave us a 6-year lease, and then Mark Giuliano left, and the next president came in and said, "Selling the pier." He wanted to auction it off, but we were able to buy it directly from Trump Entertainment, the hedge fund. The first year, in our first full year when we took it over completely in '93, we knew there was a family market there. And if you came to our pier on a Saturday or Sunday, you'd see more families and strollers than you could shake a stick at. So we knew the market was there. So we figured, but our problem was we had to compete in a small space, 150,000 square feet, with other regional parks. You know, there are bigger parks down south, and then you've got bigger parks in Pennsylvania, you've got Six Flags. So we decided to develop our niche, and our niche was new rides not only to the state, but to the United States. And in some cases, there's a couple rides on the Steel Pier that were the first in the world. But we said we have to create a niche where we have new, exciting stuff, because we're a small family operation. So that's what we did. The first ride we introduced new was the Crazy Mouse spinning coaster in 1996. It was the first ever spinning coaster in the world, and we took a chance. You know, we were at the show down in New Orleans, our amusement show, and we saw this concept, and you know, we decided we're gonna take a shot. We'll buy the prototype. You know, we struggled the first year with it, because when you have a prototype, you're always fixing the little things here and there, but it paid off. So we had the ride 26 years. It was always our most popular ride. So the new coaster that's coming now, that we're in the midst of building right now, is a newer, better version of the Crazy Mouse. This one's called the Crazy Crab, but it's a beefier, more modern, more exciting version of the Crazy Mouse. So we did that about 6 or 7 times. Our Slingshot was the first steel cable, spring loaded ejection seat ever. It was the first one manufactured. After it was invented, we took it on a Steel Pier. So we did that 5 or 6 times. And that's how we kept our edge, or stayed competitive, was to bring new items to the pier. And at one point, we had 5 locations. We were the largest slingshot operator in the country. We had 5 locations with slingshots in 3 different states. So now we're pared down to just 2 states, but that's how we developed it.
Listen, one of my favorite rides, that Slingshot. Every year I get on it, jump on it, and occasionally with a cell phone going just to see. And you're not supposed to do that, but it's just an amazing ride. The visuals, the ocean. I mean, and now you're bringing a new roller coaster. I mean, so listen, here we are now. We're talking about the pier. so many things to do at the Pier as well. You have a venue attractions. When I say attractions, a place for weddings, whatever it may be. Talk to us about that. We have a few minutes left because that's what I think separates you from anybody and everybody that does anything like you.
There's nothing like it. Imagine this: if you book a wedding at Steel Pier, you can come up to the wheel deck, which the observation deck on the wheel deck is amazing. You can have your ceremony overlooking the ocean. You can take your wedding party down to a small tent that holds 150 people right next to the wheel, have a cocktail reception in there for an hour, and then move to our larger tent in the back and have a sit-down dinner with a dance floor for 210 people. So it's 3 venues there: the large tent in the back, the smaller tent next to the wheel, and then the wheel deck itself, where we've had birthday parties, family reunions, bar mitzvahs, anything you can imagine, corporate events. The Governor's Association final event there last year with Governor Murphy and his wife. So you can do virtually anything out there, and up to a few thousand people. We've done parties for 2,500 people out there. So for a venue, you can't beat it. We're weather dependent like anything else, but it is a spectacular place to hold an event.
It's one of the few places, again, that I could call home. Although it's not mine, you've allowed me and your family to go out back there, take pictures of sunrises, free reign of the place. It's great. Listen, we love it. And the fact that you had the foresight, your family, to keep this alive. I know it's been a struggle for you, but also when you see those kids and those families smiling and enjoying themselves, in the city, there's nothing like it. I mean, we got about 30 seconds. Talk to us about that. What that feeling is to bring that type of joy to people.
There's no other business like it. I mean, you build this thing up in the wintertime, you set it up and you open it up, and families come and they enjoy themselves. And then you take it down in the winter. By the time you're done fixing it and getting it built up again, it's time to open up. But there's nothing like that feeling when that gate opens for the first time and you see all those kids come in. Right. But that's great. And another thing we do, we've been doing for 30 years, is we allow every kid in the city, every ward in the city, to have a day on Steel Pier, so for free. So during the course of the summer, we allow every resident of Atlantic City to come enjoy the pier for free, because we don't think anybody in Atlantic City should not have the opportunity to come and enjoy the pier for a day. So we've been doing that for 30 years, and it's been very rewarding for us.
That's amazing, again, and I'm glad that you brought that back, because for every child to be able to experience the Steel Pier for free in the city of Atlantic City, again, like no other. Anthony, we're about out of time, and we'll do this again on the radio as well. Thank you so much for joining us, President of Steel Pier, Anthony Catanoso. Folks, make sure you get on out there and check out steelpier.com. You're going to be blown away by what you see. We'll be right back. Hey folks, it's our belief here at the Mike Lopez TV Show that you, the viewers, and our guests bring the show to life. Thanks to each and every one of you for joining us. To learn more about AC Mike, go to acmikeNJ.com, on Facebook at AC Mike, Mike Lopez, and LiveWorkPlayAC. You can find me as well on Instagram at ACMikeNJ. If you enjoyed watching today's show, you can also listen to my radio show on 1400 and 92.3 WOND, or on the World Wide Web at WONDradio.com, Monday through Friday, noon till 2 p.m. And always remember to live, work, play AC, and I'll see you on the 48.